Everyone. Today, I want to reflect a little bit on relationships that we have through parental alienation, parental separations, court custody battles that result in long term parental separations from children. Uh, Oftentimes, our mind focuses purely on our hurt, the hurt of our children, the hurt of our immediate family. But what we also fail to realize is how our community, how our neighbors are affected. And even though it seems that that might not be an immediate priority, it long term does affect the quality of your healing process and the healing process of your children. I'll elaborate on this a little more. For my daughter, during her parental alienation time, I watched people that I loved, respected, I was very close to walk out of my life. They were told one side of a story that was much more complex, including attorneys, including judges that knew about the case. The complexities that happen are oftentimes the ones that we need to kind of look at. What information did everyone have in our life? In an earlier video, I discussed the hurt that I carry to this very day about people who were not by my side during my daughter's custody case. People that were, in fact, on the other side of the courtroom. People that were pressured into telling lies that impacted the outcome of my daughter's custody case. I will never forget the words spoken, the lies that were spoken out of people's mouth, and I will never forget the faces of the people that I was close to, people I called a friend, people that when I seen them, I gave them hugs and told them how dearly I loved them. And in the court battle, I watched my heart break because those lies and those moments impacted the outcome and rippled to the long-term effect of the parental alienation that my daughter and I have experienced. It is a very hard incident that I've had to overcome. I tell people I don't allow people's actions to impact my emotions as much as I remember and I watch them for who they are. I also know that how people act during chaos. I know that how people act during traumatic events, court custody, legal issues. You might not get a person that you know because they have never been faced or may never have been faced with that type of situation. It is hard to say how someone would react and what they would say and how they would behave unless you were in their shoes. And I often use empathy when I relate back to people who I know said negative stuff, who I know had negative influence on my daughter's custody case, who I know helped the outcome of the parental alienation of my daughter and I. The empathy that I've used over the years, I tell people there are certain people you don't have to use forgiveness really with, because you weren't bonded to that person. You know, you have people that you weren't close to. The hardest are the people that you were closest to. I remember in the community as I got older in my early 20s, I remember parents losing custody of their children and detaching from a friendship and even a kindness in my own reactions, because my concept was, if the court and officials took a child from that parent, they must have done something really horrible. And then my mind used to run to, oh, well, there's more to the story. You justify it and you pull yourself away from being the loving, kind person that you once were to people. I remember those times, and I remember the parents that I went to school with who lost custody of their children, and I remember having those emotions where I pulled myself away because I could not understand that parents could lose custody of their children but still be a good parent. They did not realize that they could have situations that courts were not presented with, situations and misconceptions led to the stripping of children from parents. I unfortunately now do know. And I use that empathy because I have not broke connections with people that I knew and grew up with during the time of raising my daughter and my oldest son. And during the court battles, I haven't lost connection with a lot of people because those are people that I love. They taught me, they helped raise me in a wonderful community. And I never want to lose connection with them. Those are wonderful people. And my daughter is still surrounded by that community, and such a wonderful support system for my daughter to have. I remember walking into the community event that on my last visit, right after it was my visit, where I finally got to see my daughter after 10 years of alienation from her. I spent an extra week in the area because I wanted to give her opportunity to process. I wanted to give her the opportunity to know that I was there and I wasn't going to just fly in and fly out and be gone. I wanted her to know that I was there for her. I did not see her as much. She wasn't prepared. She needed more time to process, and she still does. And what I am thankful for and what opportunities did come up was walking back into the community at an event that had so many people that I had missed. I got to reconnect too. It was wonderful. I also tell people that it took a lot for me to overcome the ability to realize that I had to use empathy toward people who weren't in court. There was an incident when a legal official during the court battle told me that in this type of situation, a legal tactic would be to have a large crowd. And the fact that I was I am a Native American mother who is an enrolled tribal member that was having my child taken from me without the proper process, with following the Indian Child Welfare Act. And that it hurt me at first, because I remember thinking, everyone who knows me as a mom, everyone who knows me in the community will rally behind me. They will be for me in court. They will attest to me as a mother and a woman in the community, a church member, helping church events in my community over the years. I had a sense of comfort in believing that I would have more people there than what I actually had. I had people come to me later and they were like, I would wipe my hands clean. I would never be in that place again. What a horrible place to be in. And people always want to go to the negative and place blame and say, such a bad place, and, or corruption, political corruption, family corruption, court corruption. And for a while, early in my pain, I sunk into that. I was very hurt. And I was like, yes, I had an attorney even tell me that there are communities where the impact and the name and the votes of a family will impact decisions. And early on, I had harsh feelings about it. I had to process it over time, and also realize that, looking back on the case wasn't presented in every form and fashion that I wanted it presented in. And it was because people did not understand the Indian Child Welfare Act. It was because people were angry. Attorneys have their own tactics that they are comfortable with. And sometimes it's hard to get an attorney that will act and do what you really want them to do, and presenting the case the way it needs to be. I had several attorneys during my case. I don't hold it against them, because I know that they all had success in tactics that they used. And I put my faith in that. Reflecting on it now, I know that had I pushed for the case to be wrote the way I had originally wanted it to be, the way that I had attempted for it to be seen when I came out to the tribal officials for help on enforcing the Indian Child Welfare Act to prevent my daughter from being alienated from me and from our family and our loved ones, it didn't come across that way, because there was another narrative being told from another attorney. That narrative snowballed. That narrative is what my daughter was told. There are different narratives I've heard. It kind of gets to me sometimes, because sometimes I hear stories about what people thought happened, and I'm shocked. And then again, I'm not, because we know how rumors are. We know how stories are projected and twisted. But what I do monitor is how I approach every opportunity to reconnect with people who I was close to before the court case, before the parental alienation, before my daughter was taken from my home, and before she was stripped of everyone in my life that she had grown up knowing and loving. And to have the opportunity, and I say opportunity, to reconnect with people, it's hard, because as a mother who experienced the worst pain of my life is it took a lot for me to understand and not to be hurt that more people weren't there for me in my time of need. So I had to pull back my own emotions, and I had to remember that people didn't get the full story because I wasn't there all the time presenting it and talking about it. And I wasn't there on my own defense because I was fighting tooth and nail and going through attorneys and having meetings and meeting with people, trying my best to prevent my daughter from being taken from my home. What I learned was that their knowledge and what they thought, or however people might look at it, that isn't my responsibility. But what it is my responsibility is how I take the opportunity to reconnect with people. If I allow there to be an opportunity, which is something that I think was difficult for a long time. There are friendships that I reconnected with over the years because I knew that there was a level of deception, and I knew that there was stories that I was not told by people I trusted. And it was because everyone falls into drama, the chaos storm that people get swept up into. But when I reconnected with people, and as I do over the years, I give everyone the opportunity to be their self. And I also give them the opportunity to remember who I am. I am the same mother that I've always been. I am the same fun, happy, goofy person that they've always known. That hasn't changed, regardless of the hurt, regardless of the alienation that happened that my daughter experienced. Was I hurt and broken? There is a part of my heart and soul that is broken to this very day because I don't have all four of my children in my life. I have 3 out of 4, and as I often say, it's a statistical win that feels like a failure as a mother. That in itself is something that I carry. I have learned to embrace, and I've learned to be stronger because I have to be my daughter's mother if she ever needs me. I know this because my mother isn't the mother I need after all the years of hurt and trauma that she endured. And I don't hold it against her. I just know why she lost being able to be the mother that I needed, or the grandmother that my children would love to have, because of the hurt and because of the despair that she endured so many years. What I want to remind everyone is be true to your hurt. Never bury your emotions. Try not to let anger and hurt and resentment become a part of you. You have to process your hurt. You have to process your emotions. I strongly advise, and I plead with everyone to please get medical help and mental care providers to help you during the healing process, and for your children and for your family who have endured the loss of parental alienation, court battles, custody cases that take children out of homes that they were happy in, that stability was ripped from their life, your life, and try to make sure that you give yourself time to heal to the point that you don't embrace resentment, you don't embrace anger. The hardest thing you will meet is not wanting to attack the other parent, or not wanting to attack the officials that made the ruling, not wanting to say bad words about other people, because ultimately that is only going to create more anger and resentment inside of you. You're not able to heal, you're not able to move forward, and you're not able to maintain who you are as a mother and as a parent or as a person and whole if you allow the darkness and the anger and the resentment to become a part of your life. There are days I watch movies and I sit there with my youngest two children, and it might just be an emotional part in a movie that reminds me of my daughter when she was their age. My youngest two children are the same age difference as my oldest two children. So there are times when I'm sitting there watching my youngest two children, watching movies with them and holding them, and my mind reflects back to missing my oldest and my youngest daughter. And I miss her. The pain of not having her in my life is there. It will be there even after, or if she's ever in my life again. It will still be there because of the years that I lost. But I tell myself I don't want to lose the loving mother, the strong woman that I have been throughout my life, because I want my children to know that they have their mom. I want my children to know that if they don't need me, I'm standing back, cheering from the sideline. And if they need me, I am one phone call away. I am one plane ticket. I am one drive away. I am there for them forever until the day that my breath is gone from this earth. My energy and my love will still surround them after I'm gone. I tell people, in order to remain that parent for your children in the future, you have to learn how to monitor the relationships that you've lost, give them opportunities over time, use empathy with people that didn't have the full story, use empathy with people who you loved and cared for that just didn't know how to react to the situation. And that is oftentimes what happens. My daughter has a wonderful family that I adored. I loved so many of them over the years, and I was so grateful that even though I couldn't be there, I knew that she had great people around her. I knew that she had aunts and uncles that were loving, who knew me and who knew I was not a mother that deserved to have my daughter taken from me. I was proud to know that those are the people that was still in her life. And I love those people very dearly. And I tell people that no, they weren't in court on my behalf. They weren't sitting in my corner, because I know that it was a situation no one seen coming. It was a situation that I don't think anyone ever thought the end result would be this. And it still shocks people to this day that my daughter has not been in my life and not been a part of my other children's life. So remember not to lose the opportunity to reconnect with people because of how they acted or stuff that they might have said or done. But at the same time, this is a prime opportunity to learn what motives people had. And there are people that define themselves with their own motives. I discovered the people that were just purely selfish. It was about them. It was purely about them getting a seat, and how the situation could increase their name or reputation because they were linked to me or knew me. And it was good to know that I gave people an opportunity to show me over the years, because a lot of people that I had the opportunity to reconnect with after the court battle and after all these years of parental alienation from my daughter, I got to see that I have so many wonderful people in my life that have cheered for me from a distance. So many people that have always made sure that my daughter knows your mommy loves you and she's a good mom. And the people that were just selfish, I got to eliminate. I gave them an opportunity to show me who they were, to let me know, that who they were, what their emotions were. And I got to eliminate the people that were not genuine for me and for my children. I got to step back and make sure that the quality of people, even for my youngest two children, are good quality people that have their back and my back, and that are truly loving, unselfish, and that are supportive emotionally. And knowing that my children have people, because I did not let hate and resentment be a part of my future. I worked through my emotions. I took the opportunity to reconnect with people, and I gave the opportunity for people to remember who I am. I gave them the opportunity to reconnect and have our friendships the way they used to be. And I'm so grateful because I have wonderful people in my life and in my youngest two children's lives that build our community and our village that all children deserve. My youngest two children have family that they have been alienated from because their father is currently, unfortunately, not a part of their life. But I encourage him to move forward through his family. I encourage his family to be a part of their life. And that is what children deserve. As some beautiful, beautiful, strong women taught me early in life, the more people to love children, the better. And it is truly better the more people to love children. The quality of relationships and the opportunities that you give people are defining moments to make sure that you have quality people in your life for your children, that you heal with, that you reconnect with. And you can eliminate the people who do not bring quality and true love and support. Without resentment. Without resentment, you just increase the quality of the community for your children. So to this day, I tell people relationships through the process. It's take your time. Do not tell yourself you're going to ignore your own emotions and hurt. There are years I could not talk to people. There are years I didn't reconnect with people that I was dear friends with because I knew what was said and what they did during the court battle. And when I got the opportunity, because I was ready to reconnect, it gave me the ability to make sure that I have good quality people in my life and my children's life. The community, the family, I'm so grateful for. I work through the hurt. I work through the pain each and every day, as I hope each and every one of you too, who have experienced it. But I hope that you remember, be true to your emotions, take your time, use empathy toward people, because not everyone knows the full story. They don't have your story. They don't know your emotions. And remember that it's a beautiful future once you climb that mountain. Climb the mountain of hurt. Don't give up. Press forward. Be true to yourself. Be true to your own hurt and love, and cry as much as you need. Get your people, get your doctor, get your medical care providers in your corner to help you through the process. And embrace the opportunity to reconnect with people over the years that you had to disconnect with on a happy manner, on a healthy manner. There is nothing wrong with disconnecting and taking a step back because you need to heal and because your home needs to heal. And then don't be afraid to take those opportunities forward to reconnect. Take the trips to the community events, embrace the people who you used to embrace. It's a beautiful future. It's a beautiful process. I still look forward to the day when my daughter and I hopefully have a wonderful relationship. If we never do, I am her mom always, and I will always be cheering for her in every aspect of her life, no matter what. And I am grateful for the relationships and for the people and the community that she is surrounded by that can help her through life when I'm not there. So again, monitoring the relationships through parental alienation, monitor your heart, your emotion, be true to yourself, take your time, use empathy, and remember that the future is beautiful as long as you don't give up on that beautiful future. Keep pressing forward. Have a beautiful day, guys.